Very good morning to all of you. I'm sure all of you are able to hear me.
Yes, sir.
The webinar topic we have selected is "This too shall pass, staying positive during the pandemic." In the history of humankind, we are going through an unprecedented period of uncertainty with a feeling of great fear in our mind. The entry of this novel virus, the corona, has disturbed every aspect of our lives. We are painfully aware of the state of our students who are staring an uncertain future with a lot of anxiety. Is it the end of the tunnel? Of course not. After a speed bump, we will get back on track. This too shall pass. We need to come out of our negative thinking and prepare ourselves for the new normal. We need to rewire our brains and reset our GPS to look at future with a hope to see the light at the end of the tunnel. This webinar is an attempt to reassure the student community that there is a road ahead with the promises. We need to reorient ourselves by developing a positive mindset to stay alive. Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to this webinar. We have eminent speaker, Dr. G. Robert Clive, presently working as Associate Professor, Department of Social Sciences, Crossland College, Brahmavar, who has agreed to present his views on this topic. To say few words about Professor Robert. He obtained his BA from University of Madras, then MSW from Sacred Heart College affiliated to Madras University, then PG Diploma in Guidance and Counseling from Annamala University, and PhD in Sociology from Mangalore University, and also MBA in HRM from Alagappa University. Dr. Robert Clive is a well-known personality. As an academician, he has organized 3 UGC projects, presented 40 plus papers in the national international conferences, published 18 plus research papers, co-authored 2 books, edited 2 books, and he is also a member of Board of Studies and the Board of Examiners of several universities in and out Karnataka. He has completed UGC sponsored minor research project on self-help groups and women empowerment, and also on a comparative study on working of 2 micro insurance schemes in Karnataka. He is a freelance trainer, trained several school teachers, college lecturers, and has got a very good industrial exposure conducting training programs on soft skills, competency building, interpersonal relationship skills, and team building for the middle level managers at different reputed companies such as Videocon Limited Bangalore, Project Engineering Limited Bangalore, Tebma Malpe, Konar Engineering Services Private Limited Bangalore, etc. He is a certified trainer in the life skills. As a resource person, he has delivered several talks in workshops, starting from St. Joseph College, Bangalore, several colleges in Karnataka. He has delivered the talk, and he has attended several major training programs conducted by reputed organizations such as Infosys, Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, etc. He has also presented conference papers at Hong Kong. This is a brief introduction to our guest speaker. I extend hearty welcome to the guest speaker, Dr. Robert Clive, for presenting this webinar. Once again, I welcome all of you to this webinar. Over to you, Professor, Dr. Robert Clive.
Thank you, Dr. Sudhir, for that kind introduction. I think we can move on.
Yes, sir.
My slide, is it visible, Doctor?
No, sir, not yet.
1 minute. Now is it visible?
Yes, sir. Now it is visible. You can proceed, sir.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning, friends. It's my honor to be part of this webinar organized by St. Joseph Engineering College. I am grateful to Dr. Sudhir, Dean Student Welfare, for giving me this opportunity to share some of my insights on this topic. Dear Dr. Sudhir, thanks for that kind introduction. You did it beautifully. Thank you so much for introducing me to the audience.
Welcome.
I'm really excited. Thank you, sir. I'm really excited about it. I hope the students who are listening to me are also feeling great this morning. Good morning, students. Friends, COVID-19 has affected each of us in a different way. I don't have a magic bullet today to really give you a solution to all your concerns. However, I like to share a few insights from my heart to see the positive side of it. Can we stay positive even at this time, which is really, really extraordinary? I feel yes. And that choice is ours. I made that choice and I would like to share a few thoughts on that. Let's begin. Sir, I think the slide is moving, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I just like to congratulate your college for taking up a lot of extension and outreach activities at this point of difficult time. These are some of the images I just got even today in newspaper Deccan Herald. I could read a news item, where it said your college has been contributing to the local community. Hats off to you, to the faculty, to the management, and to the students. Great to see that, sir. Let me just proceed with the topic. Please, dear students, look at this visual. These were the visuals that we could see about a few months before, maybe about 3 months before. Our happy days in the college campus. I'm saying our happy days. I also happen to be part of this teaching community. I look at all the kind of the happy moments, emotions that you can see, on different occasions. Look at that. Traveling, dancing, singing, attending classes, being in the canteen, chatting. These are the very happy moments that I think we are missing. But I think all these are now things of the past. I would call it BC or before Corona arrived all across the world. With the entry of Corona, life changed. Look at this. What are the things that changed? Life after COVID-19. A lot of things have changed. Thermal scanning everywhere. People say stay at home, keep social distancing, and look at some of the words that we keep hearing all the time over our phone or over the TV, wherever just be open, lockdown, social distance, wash your hands, stay home, curfew. And these are some of the words that have become part of our day-to-day vocabulary. And these are some of the images that we will never forget. And to all these things, when Corona arrived and the government clamped lockdown and asked us to stay home, the colleges and schools were closed. And what is the first reaction of the student community? The first reaction definitely was this. Our students were so happy, they thought, my God, 2020, a great time for a holiday. And these were the emotions. And they felt, my God, it's a very, very happy moment. I think all the students will accept that this was the first reaction almost for about 2 weeks. But this did not last long. Almost after 2 weeks, life has turned upside down for all of us. And these are just a kind of an images I'm putting before you just to really recollect the kind of emotions that we have been going through after about 2 weeks, since March. And what's been happening, let me just show you through a small visual. Friends, we have two choices. If the audio is not audible, it's fine. Just from the visual, I just want you to visualize we have two choices. Either we keep knocking at the wrong place without knowing where to go, or just really clearly knowing what to really knock at and how to proceed. I just like to recollect a very common, story that we have been hearing. The grandfather was telling his grandson, "My dear child, a fight has been going on inside me. It's a terrible fight that's between two wolves. One is evil, it's full of sorrow, anger, inferiority, envy, and self pity. And the other one is love, hope, peace, kindness, empathy, compassion, etc." And the grandson asked, "Grandpa, which one will win?" And grandfather replied, "Of course, which one you feed." Dear students, this morning the choice is yours. At a time like this, which is extraordinary, as Sir said, what's our choice? Do we feed the negative thoughts, or are we willing to really give some chance to the positive ones? So that's the focus of my interaction with you today. So let's really go on. What has Corona done to the world? Life is not the same anymore. Everything has been affected. It has disrupted all aspects of our life. The global economy has shrunk dramatically every day. We are reading that. And the IMF, all organizations, all consulting firms have put a very, very gloomy picture before us. And travel bans all across the world, except now a few European countries have opened up. And 70% of the Indians, they don't want to travel abroad. This is a survey done by CII. And the production has been halted. It is slowly recovering. Many people have lost their jobs. And in fact, we have been seeing where in some of the schools are closed. The teachers were selling certain bakery products. Things have come to such a very, very worst situation. And many institutions, organizations have cut the salary. And people are asked to go on a long leave. And the customers have changed priorities. Nobody wants to invest on any luxury things. The worst part is there is an emergence of gig economy. That is, everything is contractual now. Gone are the days when we can think of the permanent employment. Companies are declaring bankruptcy and they are being taken over by somebody else. COVID-19 has induced people saving the long-term deposits. People are no more, just spending. And the brands have preferred to advertise more on the digital platforms like Facebook, YouTube, which have got a tremendous reach now in the last 3 months than on TV. Unemployment, a record high in India, it's about 27% in the last 2 months. We are not able to create jobs, and people speak about the worst degrowth. It simply means we produce less, we consume less. And in fact, a survey says 84% of Indian households, their income level has decreased. And people speak about the new normal. What is it? Stay at home, wash your hands frequently, less communication with outsiders, don't move around, looking at everyone with a suspicion. We just move away, we don't shake hands with people, we wear a mask. Now, these are very safe things. But I'm saying this is a new normal that is emerging. People don't want to buy from the shops nearby. They order everything online. And working from home, it has become a norm. rather than exception. Social distancing everywhere we hear about, and quarantine, as I said, it has become part of our vocabulary. And these are some images. I'm just saying, never before we had this kind of a discipline anywhere. We have never witnessed. But COVID-19 has brought this new normal. And things have moved online. Everything, our relationships, our purchases, everything, online teaching. And this is something that really, really mesmerizing for us. Even a marriage, takes place through online. And what is a concern for us? It has disrupted heavily the education sector. I'm not into really statistics, but this is just one line I want to really emphasize on. Almost all our countries, out of 193 countries, 165 countries have implemented countrywide school and university closes. And these are just figures. Almost 87% of world's enrolled student population are at home. 60 million teachers are no longer in the classrooms. Maybe they are teaching online. India too has a little over 1,000 universities with 42,000 affiliated colleges, 39 or 40 million students, but all are closed now. And where are we? We are here now. Online classes, starting from KG children to PG children, or even beyond that. And I think we have no choice except for accepting it. Now, this is again a new normal. And we have reached to the level where learning is possible, like ATM. In fact, this teacher, from near a village near Kolkata, he couldn't really get to the range. So what he did, he climbed on the tree, he took his food, and he was teaching his students. So things have become online, and we really have no other choice. In fact, my mother-in-law passed 3 days ago. We couldn't travel because there are a lot of travel restrictions. So what we could really do is we could see the funeral live through online. So look at the way how we are pushed to. So everything, whether normal things or emotional things, wherever, whatever, it has all been pushed to online. So this is a new normal I'm just talking about. And the students and the teachers, we are in an unknown territory. We are caught simply unaware. No one ever expected it. Everything has moved online. In fact, my son studies in US, and he's in a terrible, anxious mood because the administration has said they are asking the students where if the classes are completely moved to online. It's a big crisis now all across. So students complain even in India about low battery suddenly, because suddenly the power goes off, poor network connections, and for certain cases like exams online, OTPs not received by students, and certain softwares used by the institutions hit the students' laptop with virus. So these are some of the things which are terribly, let's say, abnormal, but today it is normal. But what about our response to these online classes? I just put again a picturization. Look at this. And this is a way, I don't know how many of your students have got up now, how many really. Straight away, you are sitting and watching what I'm saying. Now, things have really become too different now. And people are really worried and they complain. It's too much for us. And webinars, online classes, and something that we are not able to really take. And how do we all cope up? And I'm just talking about some of the concerns that you go through. I'm sure when I just share, I'm trying to only empathize with what you're going through. Absolutely no routine now, because that college timings has everything changed. There's nobody to monitor at home. People don't disturb you because you sleep late and you get up late. You probably today many wouldn't have got up, and straight away they get up for the lunch. And these are things that I think it is almost part of your normal schedule now. And people watch more time, spend more time on TV and more time on WhatsApp. Probably TikTok is now banned, but I'm sure there'll be a lot more alternatives where students really express their creative instinct. And one of the things that I found from my students, many have not opened their college bags after the closure. But yesterday, after the government said finally students will have the exam, they got terribly disturbed. So this is what you've been doing. And what do you miss in the last 3 months? These are the things that you miss. There is no routine now, moving from the home, coming to college, traveling in a bus or your own vehicle, classes, exams. We may say exam is difficult, but that's something that became part of our life. You're enjoying it, but now we miss that classmates, teachers, that jokes, the freedom to move around, chatting with friends, the canteen meetings, chats there, gossiping over there. The real conversation with friends we are missing. And in fact, there is less motivation, there is no inspiration from people, and we miss all those team activities and extracurricular. But for final year students, the big hitters, many are missing the joy of getting a job offer letter or the campus placement. That happy news you are missing. And these are some of the major concerns I understand now. Will the teachers complete the syllabus before the exams? That's for the final years. You are not able to receive the online classes. There are connectivity issues. How will I face the exams? 4 months I've not been, to the classes, and a lot of distractions. I'm not able to concentrate. You get stressed. People are, getting into a lethargic mood because, I'm not used to this now for the last 4 months. In many, even the biggest IIMs, IITs, the placement offers are withdrawn, and students are really concerned. Some really say they may not get a placement at all. And some students are saying, I'll not be able to pay the fees next year because parents don't have the income. I may have to drop out. I may fail in the exam. What then next? And some students who are separated from the parents, they are worried about the parents. Now, at this point of time, one reaction that we really see is we all blame why Corona came this year. I'm in the first year. I'm in the last year. Why should it come now? And we are blaming the government. We are blaming the God. Why me? Why, not next year? So this is one reaction. But what it has resulted is tremendous amount of mental stress among students. Many of you, whether you realize it or not, there is tremendous amount of fear and anxiety. And in fact, in one of the surveys, they said 93% of the students don't want exams. And at least the final year students, I think now cannot say that because the government has said you have to write the exam. And what do they say? So please don't think only about completing the syllabus or having just about the exam. Think about, yes, what about the weak students? They cannot access or they cannot understand online classes, and they are scared to take the exam. In fact, one of the students was saying in a school during an online class, teacher, when I see all these things on the TV, I really have a question, are we all going to die? Dear students, I'm 100% sure it's not just with the children, we all go through this feeling. But what has it resulted? It has resulted in a lot of new habits. It has affected everyone. Look at the kind of the habits that we have formed. No routine. We spend more time on the mobile phone, more sleep hours, more texting, and we are consuming more screen time. And there are certain addictions. And there is one clinic called Shut Clinic that's only in Nimhans in India, Service for Healthy Use of Technology. What used to be before March about 10 walk-ins, it has every day now it is hundreds. Hundreds of young adults are moved to the hospital in Nimhans for problems related to that. Psychologists say it takes about 21 days to form a habit. And I'm sure if we apply that, even the next level, 66 days to stay as a habit, many of us have formed new habits. That is sleeping late, not having a routine, and that is too dangerous now. And we are in for a VUCA situation. What is this? We are really going through a situation which is volatile, uncertain, ambiguous, and complex. We don't know when it will end. We don't know where we are going. So there is a tremendous amount of directionless journey that we all take now. Look at a few, one picture that I just like to show you. I think it was heart-wrenching when we saw it on the TV. During the lockdown, it happened. A mother, who's dead, but the child was trying to wake up and the child was playing in a railway station. Now, when we see all this, my dear students, please thank God. Even at this point of time, we have a house, we have got a laptop, we have got a mobile, we have got, connection to that, and there is something to eat. Let's thank God. I want just to give you a minute, a small story. Once a mother was taking, his children for shopping. She finished the shopping. She was on her way back. On the way back, the small child, he saw a shop where there are a lot of chocolates, attractive chocolates. He started crying, "Mommy, I need a chocolate." Mother said, "No more money. I don't have. We'll go back home. No more chocolate today." But the child started, crying and, started squatting on the road. She was too embarrassed. She took the boy to the shop and said, "Okay, now don't cry. You take whatever chocolate you want." Still, the child was crying. She was fed up, and the shopkeeper was very embarrassed. And immediately he opened a box and he took a few chocolates and gave it to the boy. And he stopped crying. On the way back home, the mother was asking, "My dear son, it is quite okay. You cried in the beginning. But when I said you stopped crying because I'm giving you chocolate, why did you again cry?" And the boy said, "Ma, look at my two hands. If I had picked the chocolates with my small hands, I would have got only few. But the shopkeeper hand is too big. He has given me a lot of chocolates." Dear students, please understand, this is what a fact which we don't realize very often. God has been giving more than what we have asked for. Difficult times like this, we need to have a great attitude like this. And I just like to, one or two examples I want to give you. Mansha Koirala at one point of time was, at the top of her film career. But at some point of time, life turned, completely in opposite direction. She was diagnosed with cancer. In one of the TEDx talks, she says, "When I recovered, I understood the value of life." And she's saying one doctor who used to visit her on every Sunday and spend 12 hours with her. And she's asking that doctor, "Doctor, why do you do that to me? You don't know me." And the doctor said, "I'm doing it to you so that you can do it to someone else who is in suffering." I think it's a great lesson we can all learn at this point of time. And we can move on to option B when option A, that is what we used to do, doesn't work. In fact, it's a great book. I really request you pick up this book by Cheryl and Adam Grant. Cheryl is with Facebook, and she writes this book after she lost her husband in a very tragic incident. And I just wish that we also take some lessons from these kind of things. And she says it was very difficult for her to move on, but with people's support she just went on to change her life, and that's why she wrote this book. My dear friends, please understand, worry doesn't solve problems. I have got a small kind of a graph here. Can you do anything to really solve your problems by worrying? No. Can you really do something? If yes, then why worry at all? So in both the ways, worry doesn't really solve a problem. And I just like to really give you another small example. I'm sure you can all recognize this is Satya Nadella, Microsoft CEO, a great man. But when his child was born, he was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, a disorder where forever in his life he cannot walk or sit. But that, he says, taught him about empathy. And after that, Microsoft started producing products, which was trying to help people who are really, really in dire difficulty or who are disabled. So therefore, in any circumstances, we can always have option B. And now let me just move with a poll. Sir, over to you.
Yes. Students can see the poll questions on the right side. These poll questions are just to keep you
A small break.
yes, small break and keep you attentive during the webinar. There are 3 questions. I'm sure you have answered it. Okay, Dr. Robert, sir.
Yes, yes, sir.
Any
We can continue.
any description on this poll question, sir?
Yeah. Okay, so you got the answer here.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, that's great to see, Doctor. I think your students are really doing great. Most students are hopeful and confident. And also they have understood equally about worry. I think there is still concern. People are worried.
Yes.
Yes. I think they are following the track, and I think a few probably for the VUCA, I think read it as analytical, but it's ambiguous. But still, I think a vast majority they could answer. I think that's a great thing, but I'm happy to see that the students generally don't really have such a very negative outlook. I'm sure I can now connect to them with a lot more confidence. Yes, sir, we can go on. I think I can continue, right?
Yes, sir. Please proceed, sir.
Okay, thank you. So friends, on a lighter note, let me just continue. So look at this small statement. You get to know who has been swimming naked only when the tide goes down. This is from a great investment banker, who is into business for a long, long time. In fact, today I was just reading in the newspaper, our Mukesh Ambani has just overtaken Warren Buffett worth is about $67 billion. So therefore, coming from him, who has got a rich experience in business, and he says, well, what it really means is only when we have a difficulty, how we stand or how we respond, then the real personality comes out. That is a learning from this statement. Let me just move on. And what are the things that we have seen even at this very difficult time? There have been a lot of frugal innovations, even from some of the local colleges. I've been reading engineering colleges, how students have been collaborating with the teachers, their own classmates to come out with some great inventions, which are called frugal innovations today. And this is one small, innovation, which I just like you to watch. So he's asking, how will I protect myself from coronavirus? And the robot is answering. Now, I'm only saying we don't have to really sit and worry and thinking that, my God, I'm helpless. But there have been people who are really responded with not a lot of money, but really with their confidence and ideas. So I think I'm just moving on with that line now. Now look at that. In fact, Wildcraft, which many of the students probably is quite familiar with, the brand, which is known for its bags and other accessories, but not definitely for the mask. But it went into mass production and it started showing on the television. So that's what we call a kind of a proactive approach. Himalaya never really had such a great, brand for sanitizer. And these are small responses that I'm talking about. Even this pandemic, we can have different responses. In fact, DRDO started producing ventilators. Today, we have got plenty of ventilators, which was in short supply in the beginning. Friends, assumption that, we are going to really die, or, things are going to be really in a bad way, that will lead to disaster. But we need to see the reality. Now, what is the difference between assumption and reality? Watch this. Friends, I think the reality out there is not what as we think. So therefore, I think we need to be really tuned to the reality, not to really give heed to our assumptions. Let me move on. Which one are you? Do you look at the half full or half empty? This is a very classical question psychologists always ask to understand how do we look at things out there. And if you are looking at half full, I'm sure you're more positive. If you're just looking at half empty, people say we are little pessimistic. And there is a lot of a difference the way that we look at, we can look at the world that we want, but happiness is the result of not what is outside, but how we look at. If it's a beautiful story for just 1 minute, I'll take. I'm sure many of us would have heard it from some source. There are two people in a room. They're quite old, very sick. And there is one man who was very close to the window. He would used to describe to the other man, he was very sick. There are a lot of things outside I can see. There's a park, there's a road, children playing outside, there is a procession, there is music. So the other man used to listen to the story and he would really enjoy the day. One particular day in the morning, when the nurses came, this man who used to tell the stories was found dead. So he was shifted and the bed was vacant. So the other man said, can you please shift me to the bed which is close to the window? They said, why not? He did. And immediately after that, he tried to look through the window what was outside. There was a blank white wall. He was disgusted and shocked. Why this man had to tell a lie? He called the nurse and said, excuse me, why did he tell the lie all through? Then the nurse explained, sir, excuse me, he was totally blind. But he wanted to keep others happy. So he was narrating all this to you. So friends, it's just up to us how we really, are responding to the situation out here. And it's a small, beautiful book. Please, I just wish, some of you pick up and start reading by Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. He's a survivor who survived the Nazi, camps. Nearly 6 million Jews were killed at that point of time. He was a psychiatrist. And he was telling himself, I will live, I'll come back and tell the stories to many people. He did. And he says, those who have a why to live can bear with almost anyhow. I don't think today's situation is so worse as he described at that point of time. And he introduced a word called proactive. I'm just using that. What's being proactive? In fact, it was popularized by him. And later in 1987, Stephen Covey wrote the book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And the very first habit he said is, be proactive, not reactive. What it simply means, a person who is proactive, a situation like this will say, I will take control of my life. I don't have control over the things that's happening outside, be it Corona or the government regulations, but I can decide what I want to do. Friends, I just request you, please take this stand. Do not really go for a reactive thing, which is more emotional. Look at this small example again. A Jharkhand teacher installs loudspeakers in a village to teach the students because there was no other way. And that's something people started initially laughing, but later all the villagers started supporting him. So this is what I call a proactive, kind of a response instead of being a reactive in situations. As Einstein said, you can't solve the problems with the same level of consciousness that created them. At one point of time, the problems were different, but things are today very, very different. And what are the changes? Changes are everywhere. In fact, a survey says 65% of today's, kind of jobs that we find will not be there. And the children will have to do a new jobs, new roles. So the skill sets also have to change. Are you ready for that? In fact, you have to be ready. Long back in Future Shock, Alvin Toffler said, you have to be ready for learning, unlearning, and relearning. If you cannot do that, you are an illiterate person. So let's be ready for that. Again, a beautiful book. I just like to give you only a glimpse of that. The book title is Who Moved My Cheese? There are 4 characters. In fact, they are very happy living in a place. They get to the cheese that they love. But at some point of time, the cheese gets over. And the first one, he feels that, it's going to be dangerous. He starts walking. Finally, in one place, he finds it. He's quite happy. He comes back and tells others, hey, there is a place where we can find cheese. But they are not moved. But after some time, the second one moves, the third one moves. But the fourth one doesn't move at all. About to die. And finally, that also decides, my God, if I just stay here, I'll die. So it starts moving and it starts enjoying that cheese. Friends, this is what I'm saying. Even at the hopeless situations, if there are possibilities that we can try, I think there are new directions, new openings. Maybe in the beginning, first one, when it is raining, we go unprepared, we just get wet in the rain, but not all the time. Next time when you go out, we take an umbrella and we don't get wet. So I think that is what we need to do now as a requirement. Let's not go wet out. The world outside is now very different. We need to carry an umbrella. So for that, don't say we are too busy. These are things useless. No. So just like you see in this image, people are just struggling hard, but the key thing is they are missing the wheel. Let's really now sit, pause, and think what I can do now better to improve myself. For most of us, our own habits are really big problems. And what is that habit? Let me show you. I'm sure you could really see something here. This lady shifted from the typewriter to the computer, but her habit was that lever that was part of the typewriter, she was still used to that. She's not able to move on to the computer. So let's really change our habits. If you are using the same old habits and the results will be same, and if you are doing the same thing and expecting big results, please, I think we need to be called mad. We are insane. So let's change the habits. Otherwise, something like this, again, I just like to give you a parallel example. There was a frog which was sitting on the edge of a window. A lady was boiling some water. It jumped into the water. Initially, it was quite warm. It was enjoying it. But little later, it started really feeling the heat. It wanted to come out. But by the time, the skin started peeling off and it died in the hot water. Let's be prepared to really not get into the hot water and just enjoy that for some time, but let's get out. So elephant is not really held by the rope as it believes. You can see elephants don't really, because when it is small, they tie and they think that always they're tied by a rope. And if we have a belief system, something like that, we will not, I can't speak, I can't dance, I can't do this, then I'm sure we get stuck somewhere and we resist change. And you are able to see on your right, look at the ambassador car. At one point of time, it was a mighty car. People, my God, they were respecting people who are coming in the car like ministers or anybody. But today, if somebody is coming, imagine your professor coming by an ambassador car, you'll start laughing at it. Because today it has become a scoffing thing. Even today, I tell you, ambassador is a very strong car, but it refused to change when so other new models came into the market. So please don't say it is difficult. I'm too busy. I think, what's going to be. I've been doing it the same way. No, we need to change. A ship in the harbor is safe, but the ship is not to be in the harbor, but it has to move into the water. I think just as Darwin said, we need to adopt or we will perish. Are we ready for that adopting? I just ask you, it's not a poll question, but you can just reflect. I always ask this question in my workshops. When was the last time you did something for the first time? I give you a few seconds to think about it. When was the last time you did something for the first time? In the last 4 months, what was something new that you tried? If you've done something new, hats off to you, pat at your back, because you are on the way to growth trajectory. And how many online courses that you take, you're taken? Look at the amount of, the resources that we have, all free resources. I just put a sample of it. In fact, some of my students used to call me, sir, I'm doing this. He said, okay. I said, please go ahead. Even if you don't get a certificate, but if it's still worth it. How many of us registered for an online course in the last 4 months and completed it? And this is your Google Calendar. I put one which is empty, the other one it is full. Friends, in the last 3 months or so, I've attended more than about 25 webinars, which I liked. Don't think, Clive is, such a big person. No, definitely not. And I have been a resource person in, quite a few of these, webinars. But I just want us to really tell, I want to tell you, more than attending 60, 70 seminars, conferences earlier, through these webinars, I have learned much more. If you have attended again webinars, please again pat at your back. And that is what I'm saying, the readiness to change. Please, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. If you're still in the comfort zone, nothing grows there, we get stuck somewhere. Don't sit and cry. It's not the strongest that survives, but the most intelligence, and that is one who is most responsive to change. There are a lot of changes. Are we responsive to that? I just want to give you a two comparison. Look at that, it's very beautiful. Read it very carefully. Let us prepare for surfing, which is on my left, and not a tightrope walk at this point of difficult time. What is this surfing? There's a lot of excitement. We may fall, but we can get up and surf again. There are challenges all across, waves coming, but we need a lot of balancing. But if it is on the right side, tightrope walk, a lot of fear, you could fall anytime, and there is very limited skill of balancing, which many of us are not good at. Friends, at this point of time, let us prepare for surfing and not for a tightrope walk. Sir, over to you for the second poll.
Yes, poll questions will appear on the right side. Participants, you have 1 minute time. The time started now. There are 3 questions. Please read the question and answer. We request all the participants to answer the poll questions, participate in this poll questions and answer.
I think that will be very interesting to see, the answers from these questions. Please try to respond.
Last 5 seconds. Let us see the analysis of the
Yes.
results.
Okay. So maybe those who answered, one of the things that I said about is the first one who popularized the term proactive. That's actually Viktor Frankl. Coming back, what I was more interested was the webinars and online courses. Quite interesting among those who have answered. I think that there are a lot of you who have attended more than 5 webinars. That's really, again, a great sign to see. I think I must congratulate you. And with regard to the online courses, I think vast majority have done 1 to 5 online course, and a few have crossed even 5, at least 4 of you. I think that's a great sign that you are learning, and maybe others don't have to be disheartened, but at least, through this kind of insights, I'm sure we can take a leaf from your friends. Thank you, sir. I think that's a great insight for us also to understand the mood of our students. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Please proceed, sir.
Yes, sir. So maybe I'll take my last part, a few more minutes. I have another 15, 20 minutes, sir, I can take?
Yes, another 20 minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes. Let's go on. Friends, I just like to now take the last part of it. What got you here won't get you there. This is also a book which simply says, see, right now we are in a situation, we came through certain experiences, certain learnings, but the future is different. And to reach there, things are going to be different. Our preparation level has to be different. So let me take you through a few slides with this content in mind. And I'm sure the final years, now when you write the exams now, very soon, you get your degree in whichever branch that you're doing. But I'm sure in India, a lot of surveys predicting that 80 to 90% of our graduates are simply unemployable. And it is a fact because many of them choose the jobs which they are not interested in and they get bored. Now, I just want you to reflect through a few slides how we can do that. Please, we need to rewire our brains. That is actually the first step for a change. Our brains really have tremendous. In fact, many psychologists say we don't even use 10 to 15% of our potentials. We just die. And I always tell the students the story of an eagle and a chicken. An eagle which is born as a chicken, it dies just like a chicken. It never flies in life because nobody tells a chicken, sorry, eagle, that it is actually an eagle. You can soar. The world is yours today. If you have in fact, don't think there are no campus placements, no job opportunities. There are plenty of opportunities. Companies, tech companies are recruiting in a larger level. Yesterday, the TCS has declared their quarterly results, and it is 8,000 crore plus quarterly, profit. So it simply says that companies are doing well. There are job opportunities, but move on with those opportunities. Prepare yourself with relevant skills. And this is something, it's not a mistake. It's not that augmented realities, augmented humanity. I mean it. People with a lot of empathy and the machine and the data together is going to create the world for us. We hear about artificial intelligence, data, machine learning, a combination of all that with people who have got tremendous amount of compassion and empathy, you're going to make great leaders. And what kind of a mindset do you have, my dear students? And in fact, these are the two things, broader, mindsets that I'm talking about from a book called, mindset, fixed mindset and growth mindset. What is it? Growth mindset talks about, I can learn anything, I can do anything, I am not frustrated, I can change, I can challenge myself. Even if I fail, I learn something from that. But the fixed mindset is, get frustrated, I give up, and I just almost, don't want to try after that. What's your really take on that? Proceeding further, please, I'm also talking about something called maker mindset today. You all need to be innovators. There are a lot of, kind of opportunities for you. You can collaborate with your teachers, maybe with your classmates or a student from another institute. Plenty of opportunities, but look out for that. These are the, things people are looking for. Are you innovative? Are you creative? And can you just, plan in detail? Can you really solve problems? And this is a small slide. You can refer it, you can read it. The Future of Jobs, World Economic Forum, every year they publish and they provide what are the jobs, what are the skills that we require at present. And even this predictions has gone wrong with the pandemic because a lot of jobs have been eroded. There are no jobs in hospitality sector, and there are many other sectors which are emerging as sunshine sectors. So anyway, I'm just saying, please refer these, small documents. Which are the careers that are really coming up? There is a lot of scope for consulting and training because online people, just want a lot of material. Sitting at home, people want to learn. Are you ready for that? Are you a good communicator? Please try your hand in that. There is a lot of scope for mental health and counseling personnel. Healthcare is going to be a huge kind of a hit now. Customer service, because everything we want a solution online. Online entertainment, social media influencers, because social media is tremendous growth, and corporate communication, digital marketing. Friends, don't think that I studied this, I'll get stuck. Please, that's only an imagination. We will not get a job that according to the qualification that we are having. And of course, these are some, kind of a very symbolic thing I have put. These are things that are changing. And if we are not catching up with this, I'm sure we get defeated. Not others defeat us, we defeat ourselves. Now, what's the skill set required? Tremendous amount of collaborative skill. All across the world, people are now spread out, but we can do things together sitting in any corner of the world. Are you ready for a change? Are you a lifelong learner? What does your, creative thinking says? What is your critical thinking says? Quick decision makers. You need a lot of attention to detail and more importantly, networking. And please remember, even getting an employment depends on your networking. So if these skills you are able to have it, or if you are able to really develop it right now, I'm sure absolutely nothing to worry. You have jobs. And how do people recruit, or what's the talent acquisition mode today? No more through campus interview. I'm sure 100% definitely companies won't come to you. Neither do you go for an interview. And they pick out your abstracts from various profiles, be it Facebook, LinkedIn, or whatever it is. And you will have to be ready for a video chat. And they look at you from, they say the first 10 seconds, people decide whether I should take somebody or not. The way you comb your hair, the kind of dress that you wear, and the way you sit, everything matters. So therefore, let us be ready for these changes to get into an organization. And at this point of time, friends, I have a small request. Manage your time well. And this is something I'm sure management students definitely study. And I'm sure engineering students also have somewhere these papers, this time management matrix. Do not waste time. What is important, what is urgent, please update your skills. You can go for collaboration, you can go for webinars, you can do some online courses and find opportunities, put your resume and attend an online interview. I think that is what we need to do, not things which are really not urgent, not important, like watching TV, spending a lot of time sleeping, spending a lot of time chatting. I think we need to change. And this is again a small kind of a tool which we are calling it a Johari window. I'm sure some of you will be familiar, but I request, please, this is a time for you to reflect. In fact, last week in a webinar, I was talking, the main thing was reflective learning. And I dealt a lot on this, where this is a time we can do a lot of reflection about ourselves. Friends, here this open self has to really develop into a larger one. The unknown, blind, hidden has to become minimum. We can reflect, we can ask our teachers, we can ask our friends, we can ask our family members, what am I good at? In fact, many of the friends nowadays, they found that they are really very good at dancing. One of my relatives yesterday, he had put in his status, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. It's quite exciting, quite interesting to see how really he's an engineering student, but he has channelized his strength into a small opportunity. So open up yourself, and that self has to expand. This is again a beautiful concept I want to share this morning. Ikigai. This is a Japanese concept. Why do we live? And there are two things I want to tell you. They say you should have a reason to live. That is a passion. Find out what you're good at. Do that, and you should love doing that. When you do that, I'm sure you find your ikigai. That is the reason for living on this earth. And I think these are the great moments to understand why we are living. And I just like to give you, small examples, because this is a very, time framed session that I'm having with you. This is an experiment done on the apes. The mentality of the apes. It's a book, also an experiment done by a psychologist. And where, they found this particular very interesting insight. They had tied a banana in the roof, and they had left a chimpanzee there inside the room. And they had kept some boxes, cotton boxes inside the room. And this chimpanzee tries and tries, but it could not reach. After some time, it sits in a place, it starts reflecting, and what immediately comes to its mind is there are small boxes. It arranges the boxes one above the other. It climbs on the boxes, then it gets the banana. Then he concludes, this is what we call, in any circumstances, if we can make efforts, the result will be achieved. So I request, we can always learn insights from these kind of lessons. And in fact, most of the tech companies in the world, be it Google, Facebook, all these were started by young people, but at the most difficult times. But today, these are the, anybody would really love it. In fact, when my son does his internship in Google, I feel really, happy, because there's a lot of learning, he says. So therefore, I'm only saying it's not just a dream, job, but for these are dream companies, but started by ordinary people. I'm sure you can definitely reach to this goal. You can start something. You can give employment to many people. I always give this small little kind of an anecdote again. There was a father who had like 3 sons. He was a rich businessman. At some point of time, he wanted to take a break. He called all the three sons and he said, my dear children, I'm going to give you 3 wooden blocks, which are very expensive, but I'm taking a break. Do whatever you want. He left. And the first son was a terrible, terrible drunkard. He took that and went to a wine shop and asked, sir, how many bottles will I get? And the man said, take 2. And he took it and he went off. His wooden block is over. The story is over. The second one was very calculating. He went to a bank and asked, sir, I deposit here. How much interest do I get for 6 months? They said, maybe you get about 3,000. He took a certificate and left. The third one, he was keeping the wooden block in his pocket and he was moving around. And he finds suddenly one carpenter who was making toys with wood. He went inside, sir, can I get an employment? The man said, no way. No, sir, just a free internship. The man took him in. For 3 months, he worked hard and hard, learned everything there. After that, he left, said, thanks, sir. He was again moving around that with that wooden piece. He found a small shop vacant. He rented it out. Within 1 month, he created a beautiful wooden elephant toy. And that became a signature of the entire population there. He sold it for a huge sum. With that, he developed his business. His father comes back. On the way back, a man is lying down on the roadside. His elder son, his case is gone. The second son comes to him and says, Dad, you gave me the wooden block. I got 3,000 rupees. Father said, great. The third son said, Papa, please come with me. I want to show you something. And he takes him to his shop and says, this is my shop. You gave me the wooden piece, but I have created something out of it. The father said, I am so proud of you. My dear students, God has given equal opportunity to all of us. No blames. But what do we do with that even at this most difficult time? That's our choice. Look at even in the difficult times, how Indigo responded to the customers. Everyone is saying we will fly again. That is a hope that people have created. Students, we will also fly again. I'm just going to conclude the last part. Please be with me for another 5 minutes. The most important part, even at this point of difficult time, is our connections. Please, it is only physical distancing. It is not social relationships. They can cause terrible damage if you are not connected with people. Look at a few slides. I just want to conclude. And one of the things I always tell people is, please have empathy. And when you see somebody is in pain, please don't turn your eyes on the other side. You feel what the other person is feeling. I always say, see with your eyes of another, listen with the ear of another, and feel with the heart of another. I think that creates a great leader in you. And I just again want to show you a small visual here. It takes a few seconds. Look at that. What is empathy? How do we really connect to each other? This child may not have the hands, but it knows how to understand the feeling of the other child. I'm sure it is heart-wrenching, but that is what I can appeal all of you. Please stay connected. I just want to give you a small example here. These are called redwoods. This tree is 350 feet high. Look at that, even a vehicle goes inside that. But unfortunately, for this tree, the root is very small. It is, very small, and it's only about 5 feet. But how do they say strong? Because they are all interconnected. These trees get connected with each other. I just want all of you, please stay connected with your friends, family members, wherever they are, teachers. Don't stay unconnected. That's my message. Even in 1918 Spanish flu, people came back after a terrible, terrible damage to the humanity. And let us not lose direction. Look at the eagle, not the crow. When the eagle flies high, the crow tries to distract and tries to attack. But the eagle soars, it goes high. But at some point of time, the crow cannot go up. It really gets frustrated and is about to die. It comes down. So let's be eagle, not the crows. Friends, this too shall pass. I said in the beginning, and Sir said in the beginning, at the end of the tunnel, there is always a light. Let us look and let us look up to that light. Let's wait for that. When things are bad, remember, it won't always be this way. Take one day at a time. When things are good, remember, it won't always be this way. Enjoy every great moment. And resilience at this point of time is the most important thing. Do you remember in Thailand last year when all the children for about 17 days they were caught in a cave because of the flood? They stayed alive. Not because of the food, it is because of the hope they had. I want all of us to have that. One day or day one, you decide. There is a difference here. One day is you are saying, I'll wait for this coronavirus to get over. Day one is today. You say, I'm going to take the first step. I'm going to change myself. Please take. You can do a lot of things to you and to the community. And I just want to really conclude with a small little story where a man is taking his son through a desert for a long journey. After some time, the food is over. They're struggling to really survive there in the desert. No water, nothing. The boy says, Papa, we are going to die. We lost the way. And the man is saying, no, my dear child, there is a way and we will reach the next village. But the son is almost giving up. At some point of time, they see a tomb. The son is saying, Papa, somebody came here, they died, and that's why there is a tomb. And the father is saying, shut up. Will anyone, build their own tomb? Probably there is a village nearby. And the father leads his son to the next side. And yes, there was a village. They find some good people. They provided food, and they really had some satisfying, journey thereafter. I think our life also has to be that way. I just wanted to look at this one. I want to conclude with a small visual to see how we can stay positive. I have been saying this. Please thank God, thank your parents, thank your teachers. At this point, please don't neglect your health, including your mental health. Please don't say yes to everything, to everybody. I want you to really come back to discipline, create a routine. I love this message. Please don't watch TV all the time, hearing the deaths. Please be with the positive people, positive messages. Thank you, Dr. Sudhir. Thank you, dear friends, for listening to me. It has been a great experience for me. Always, as I said, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Let's wait with hope. Thank you so much. Yes, over to you, sir.
Yes. Is there any poll at this point, sir?
I think you can do that. The one that I have sent, I think the third one.
Yeah, third one.
Yeah.
Yes. Poll questions have come. Participants, please try to answer. There are only 3 questions. You have 45 seconds left. After the poll questions are answered, there will be a feedback link that is shared to the participants. Participants, please give your feedback on the webinar, which we will consider as your suggestions in our future efforts. And those who have given the feedback will be e-certified that they have attended the webinar. Let us see the poll results.
Yes. What I'm really happy at the end is there are two things which is very striking, Dr. Sudhir. One,
Yes.
a good percentage, they are aware of their potentials. Dear students, pat at your back. And the last one, I'm really very happy to see that many of you are saying that you're hopeful, not because of my session. I'm sure your built-in personality is very positive. Keep going. As I said, this is not the end of the world. Humanity has seen many, many other big things. People have come out. But I just wish that you also have the strength and the hope to move on. Thank you. If there is something that you would like to share, you're most welcome now.
Participants, before sharing the feedback link with you, if you have any questions, specific questions, which you would like Professor to answer, you can type it in the chat box. The number of the participants, those who have answered the poll questions number 3 is much more than the number 1 and number 2. That itself is an evidence that the webinar has a positive impact on the participants.
Yeah, that's a great sign. Thank you.
Yes. I would like to, meantime, I would like to take this opportunity to say a few words.
Yes, sir, please carry on.
Dr. Robert Clive has given us a good insight into the topic. This too shall pass, staying positive during the pandemic. In fact, I have noted on so many things which I would like to present here. There are several books, good books, which Professor has mentioned. One is option B, another one, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. Third one, Man's Search for Meaning. Fourth one, Who Moved My Chase. Fifth one, Mentality of Apes with a banana, that story. Sixth one, Attitude is Everything. Wonderful. When I get the time, I'll go through all these books. Thank you very much, Professor. I'm sure participants have also noted down. There are a lot of good insight the professor has given. Some of the keywords I have noted down: change, positive thinking, new things, online courses, keeping ourselves busy with all the schedules in the Google Calendar noted down, end your comfort zone, then only the life begins. Prepare for surfing, not to walk on a tight rope. Rewire your brain for change. Fixed mindset or the growth mindset, it matters a lot. And that wooden box example, the shining example, which I will never forget, in case of three sons given wooden boxes each. Then the indigo, how it responds to the difficult situation. They're all confident that they will fly again, and we are also confident we will fly so high with the wings. Empathy, wonderful animations shown. Stay connected with the others. It is not the physical connection, it is the virtual connection. Let us be eagle, not the crow. One day or the day one. Videos, stories, visuals have communicated what you wanted to say, Professor. One of the best webinar I have attended during this breakdown. Thank you very much for sharing your views. Sir has also given a lot of hints to the students. This is the time to upskill yourselves because you will never get this time once again in your life. We have to upskill ourselves, become more stronger, and come with a more confidence to face the new challenges. Inspirational webinar. Professor has also highlighted about the World Economic Forum details. I request the participants to go through that. Future of the jobs, skill sets requires, and one beautiful thing, Professor said, time management matrix, and also the Johari window. Very good example of one of the student doing the YouTube channel on his hobby and Ikigai Japanese concept. Wonderful presentation, wonderful presentation. A lot of appreciations are coming through the chat boxes, sir. Thank you very much. And one information they asked about is about the internship. I think this internship details are available. It is available in the respective departments. Online internships are permitted now. I think departments, student welfare coordinators, I asked them to contact. Wonderful, sir. Thank you very much. There is no any specific questions with respect to the presentations given because the presentation is so appealing, so convincing, so inspiring that we got lot to take and we don't have any doubts in our mind and we will remain positive and we will emerge stronger after this pandemic. I think we shall conclude this webinar on behalf of the entire SJC family. I take this opportunity to thank our guest speaker for the wonderful webinar delivered today. Thank you very much, sir, and we will continue our association in the future also. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your kind words, appreciation, and the summary. Beautiful. I think more than I could remember, you remember. Thank you for such a beautiful summary of the entire webinar, and thanks for the good words you shared. Thanks, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, all the participants. You will get the e-certificates to your email. I think the feedback link has to be shared in the chat box now. Please give your feedback. The link is already shared. Please take 1 or 2 minutes to give the feedback. Once you give the feedback, we will arrange to email the e-certificate for participating in this webinar.
Sir, I think I can leave the meeting, right? Sir, I can leave the event, correct?
Yes,
Sir,
Professor Robert. Yes, Professor Robert. Sorry,
no,
sorry
no,
for
no,
the
no, no.
small
I,
interrupt.
I think with that I will leave the meet.
Yes,
You
yes,
can
yes.
carry.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you
you
so
very
much. Okay, okay.
Dear participants, feedback link will be active for another 2 minutes. You can give your feedback. Thank you for participating in the webinar. Your e-certificates will be emailed to you. Thank you once again. Have a nice weekend.